Good morning, this is Mrs. Robertson, and today we're going to review before we take our math test. And this is the review sheet we're going to do, and then we're going to go over our homework, and then we'll talk a little bit more about our quarter 3 assessment that we're going to be taking, and then also what homework I expect you to do tonight to help you to get ready for the test tomorrow. So it is Tuesday morning, and it is March 8th. This is my first period math class. Carrington, we're missing you. If you are watching this, we're thinking of you right now. All right, we wanted to have perfect attendance. Hope to see you tomorrow. Okay, in our first problem here on this review sheet, it says, did you get a review sheet? Okay, good. Keegan bought 8 hamburgers for $18.96. Write and solve an equation to find the cost of each hamburger. All right, so kids, what would you do to get the answer for this problem? Right, you would just divide, but that's not an equation. You would say, hey, the answer to this, $18.96 divided by 8. And you have a calculator, and you put that in there, and when you divide it with your calculator, subtract, bring down, it goes into that 3 times, subtract, it goes into 56, 7 times. So the answer is $2.37, okay? Now, the equation part sometimes is harder. On your test, they will have 4 different equations, and you have to figure out which one to do. Okay, before I go on, did everyone see how to get the answer? Could you all knew, oh, you divide to figure out how much one hamburger is, right? Everyone knows that? Okay, so when you see different equations, they are going to look sort of like this, and then you have to choose the equation that will give you this answer. So you might see something like a choice of x minus 8 equals $18.96. Will that give you the right answer? No, so don't choose something like that. You might see something that says x divided by 8 equals $18.96. Well, that's close because you're thinking, oh, we divided. It's going to be that one. But kids, is $2.37 divided by 8 $18.96? No, that's the tricky one. Don't choose that. It's like, no, because to get the answer to this equation, you multiply by 8, don't you? Yeah, well, that's going to give you a lot bigger one, so we know it's not going to be that one. So let's see. There will be one that says something like x plus 8 equals $18.96. Well, $2.37 plus 8 isn't going to give you $18.96. You're not going to choose that one. No, you're going to choose the one that says this. 8 times x equals $18.96. That is the equation you would choose. All right, kids? Why? Because to solve this one, what do you do to get the answer? You divide it by 8, right? And sure enough, that gives you $2.37. So do you see how to do these problems? The answer is very simple. But then when you have to choose the equations and they give you 4 different choices, make sure the equation you choose will give you the answer you want. Any questions on that? So did you see what to do? Sometimes it's easier to get the answer than to write an equation. All right? Any questions? And just think, oh, 8 times $2 and some cents will give me $18.96. Yep, that's the right one. Okay, go through and check. Any questions on how to do these problems where you first figure out the answer and then look at your equation choices and then choose the right one? Okay, then we have another equation choice. Addison uses the following formula. y equals 3 times x to figure out how much food is required to feed her animals. Now, they have values. What does y equal? Y is pounds of food. So when you see y, you're going to put your food, how much your food weighs. And x represents how many animals. So whatever you put here tells you how many animals you have. Do you see that? So in the next question, it says, how many animals can Addison feed if she has 27 pounds of food? Well, you're going to replace y with 27, right? So you're going to have 27 equals 3 times x. And x represents animals. So how many animals can she feed if she has 27 pounds of food? Yes, 9. And you get that answer by dividing both sides by 3. And she has 9 equals x. So she can feed 9 animals. Okay? So the answer is 9 animals. Any questions on that? Now we're going to get something do something a little different. How many animals can she feed if she has 40.5 pounds of food? Well, again, we're going to replace y with 40.5 equals 3 times x. What am I going to do to solve this equation? How many animals can she feed with 40.5 pounds? Yes. 13.5. Did you divide by 3? Yep, you're going to divide by 3. And kids, with a calculator, is this hard? No. 40.5 divided by 3 is what again? 13.5. So the answer is, how many animals can she feed? 13.5 animals. So 13.5 animals. All right, if she has 40.5. There's always one animal that'll want to eat a little bit more. Well, all the animals want to eat the exact amount. No, but this is just to help Farmer Addison know what to do on her farm. Right, Addison? Yeah. Do you have animals? No? Okay. This is another Addison. This isn't our Addison. Now, if this Addison, not our Addison, but another one, had 8 animals, how many pounds of food would be needed? This time you're going to replace x with 8 because x represents animals. So if she has 3 times 8 equals y, that's how many pounds of food. How many pounds of food will she need for 8 animals? 24 pounds. 3 times 8 is 24. 24 pounds. Do you see how these values work? It's not hard. But you have to have your brain turned on. Are you going to be able to get these if you just look at them and just write stuff down? No. Your brain has to be turned on. It's like, oh, X is animals, Y is how much the food weighs. And you can do these problems, right, kids? Thumbs up. All right. So always read your equations carefully. And whenever you have to write an equation, come up with what you think the answer is and then choose wisely on those. Make sure the equation you would choose matches the answer you want to have. Okay, now we have some L-shaped problems to find the area. We worked on some of these yesterday. We've done these before. So when you have an L shape, I usually cut them in pieces, and I'm going to cut this one here today. So to find the area of the shape, I have the area of this rectangle plus the area of this rectangle. And everyone in here knows the rectangle is length times width, right? So for this one, the vertical one, it's 9 times, well, it's not 10. How do I figure out what that line is right there? It's 9 times something. Well, from here to here is 10, right? From here to here is 6. 6 plus what is 10? 4. Do you see how to find the missing number? So this is 9 times 4, which is 36. This one is very easy because you can see the numbers. The numbers you're going to multiply on this one, 6 times 2, right, kids? And what's 6 times 2? 6 times 2 equals 12. And then you add those together and you get 48 centimeters squared. Any questions on how to do L's? All right. Be careful on your L's. Now let's go to this problem here, a trapezoid. Now kids, you will not have the formulas on your test. Let's write down the formula for a trapezoid. The trapezoid is the height times B1 plus B2 divided by 2. Okay, so this is the height, which is 5 here. It's the same as this. B1 and B2 are the parallel sides. These are your B1 and your B2s, okay? And then you can't forget to divide it by 2. So for this problem, my height is 5. 5 times, and you add your parallel sides. 14 plus 6, and then you can't forget to divide it by 2. So 5 times 14 plus 6 is 20, divided by 2 equals 5 times 20 is 100, divided by 2 is 50 centimeters squared. Okay? Now, let's pretend you can't remember this formula for some reason. All right? That happens. You're still okay, kids. If you can't remember the formula, it's just two shapes put together, isn't it? It's just a rectangle plus the triangle, right, kids? And add them together, and you will still get the same answer. So if you can't remember this formula, just do the rectangle. The area of a rectangle equals 6 times 5, and then you add the area of the triangle. Now that is going to be from here to here. Well, if this is 6 and this is 14, what's 14 minus 6? 8. Yeah, it doesn't look quite right because 6 looks longer than an 8, but it's an optical illusion. So you're going to take 8 times 5, since it's a triangle, divide it by 2, and you get 20. So here you get 30 plus 20 also gives you the same answer of 50 centimeters squared. Any questions on that? That equals 30. It's a little hard to see. Any questions on how to do it? So if you don't have this formula memorized, you can always do rectangle plus triangle, correct? Any questions, kids? All right, let's go to the back page. There's another trapezoid, but we'll skip that. Let's do this problem here. We have a big triangle with a rectangle inside of it. So to find this one, you find the area of the triangle. And remember, the formula is base times height divided by 2, right? Oh, you've got mine. Here. That's the one I'll be looking for. Take this one. And I need that one back because I want to show you some pictures. After a while. Let me get this. Thanks. I'm going to need that in just a moment. Okay, so that's the formula for the area of a triangle. Does everyone know that? Remember, the ones that begin with a T, triangle and trapezoid, divide them by 2. So let's continue. The area of the triangle is 12 times 5 divided by 2. Okay? Then I subtract the rectangle that's in it. And the formula for the area of a rectangle is length times width. So it's 5 times 1. And I'm going to subtract these numbers, these answers, okay? 12 times 5 is 60. Divided by 2 is what? 30. Now, 30 minus 5 gives you the answer of 25 meters squared. Do you see how to do that? Okay, let's do the one where we have a rectangle minus a triangle inside. We just want to practice triangles today, okay? So here we have in this problem, rectangle, the big rectangle, minus the triangle. Okay? You all know the formulas for these, right? Right. So 32 times 20 gives you the area of the rectangle. When in the calculator, what do you get when you take 32 times 20? 640. Everyone agree?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, what am I going to do to find the area of the triangle? That looks like it's a 20 meters and 10 meters. So I multiply them 20 times 10, but what do I got to remember to do?
Divide by 2.
Excellent. Because it's a triangle, divide by 2. 20 times 10 is 200. And what's 200 divided by 2?
100.
And we subtract 100. 540 meters squared. Any questions on how to do those problems? Everyone okay with that? Okay, let's go on now. I want you to just practice on a few of those problems, but before we go on, I want to talk to you about a few other things here. All right, so now we're looking at last night's homework, and these are answers to the Math 6 Quarter 3 review. We're going to look at some questions from Chapter 8. And there are a few more that have been added in here too. So we're looking at this. We did number 1 yesterday. It says, which of the following sets of values completes the function table? Well, 3 times 2 is 6 minus 1 is 5. 9 minus 1 is 8. 12 minus 1 is 11. And B was the one that had those answers. Okay? Then we look at number 2. Mrs. Miller is buying hot dog buns for a cookout. Using the table as a guide, how many packages will she need if she wants to buy 48 buns? Okay, kids, does 48 go under the first column or is it going to go under the second column? Yeah, the second column is where buns are, so you're going to put 48 there. And we have mystery number. So, how does a 2 turn into a 16? What did they do to it? Times 8. 4 times 8 is 32. Now, what times 8 equals 48? Yes, 6. And that's how you would do that problem. Any questions on how to do that? Okay. Let's look at the next problem. Use the table below for exercises 3 and 4. All right. So here a 1 turns into a 3, a 2 turns into a 6. What's the rule? How does the 1 turn into a 3? And they're going to use an n. What do they do to this n to make it turn into something else? Jackson. 3 times n, that is correct. 3 times n is the rule. Now, what is the value of the 12th term? Here, they're going to do what with n? Heidi. Right, 3 times 12, and that equals 36. Any questions? All right, so in this problem, the graph shows the total cost of pizzas from a pizzeria. Which equation can be used to find the total cost y for the number of pizzas x? All right, so here, this is your x, and this is your y. So, if you buy 1 pizza, it equals $10. 2 pizzas is $20. What do you do to the x to get the y? Caden. A, 10x equals y. Very good. Any questions on that? All right. On the next problem, admission to the county fair is $5. Okay, I'm going to underline that. it costs an additional 50 cents for each ride. 50 cents for each ride. Which equation represents the cost of going to the fair and buying any number of ride tickets? So, C equals what? Okay, which one of these equations represents that, Jackson? G. 5 times the 50 cents times T for tickets plus $5. You are right. I would have written it as $5 plus 5T, but yeah, I would have said $5 plus 0.5 times T, but the same thing is 50 cents per ticket plus $5. All right. Any questions on that? Good job on that question. Okay, let's go to the back and let's look at number 7. Here we have to find the equation again that goes with these. This is sometimes tricky. We practiced this a while ago. Malia earns $5 for every hour that she babysits. Which equation can be used to find T, the total amount, so T equals the total amount we'll earn after babysitting 5 hours. So it's going to be something that T equals, okay? T is your total, so it's not going to be this one, that's H, or this one. Which one is it going to be? If she babysits so many hours, and she gets, up here it says she gets $5 for every hour. Which one, Carter? D. T equals 5 times H. 5 times the number of hours. If she works 2 hours, she gets $10, right? If she works 3 hours, 15. That makes sense. If you wanted to choose that one, you say 5 plus 1 hour is $6. 2 hours, that would only be 7. It's like, well, that's not right. She needs to make $10. So always, once again, go back and look at your choice. Does it make sense, okay? If you do those things, it'll help you a whole lot. Now, how much will Malia earn if she babysits 8 hours? Well, T equals 5 times 8. And how much will she make if she works 8 hours? Yes. $40. Now, if you would have chosen that, 5 plus 8 is 13. Is that choice here? No, that would be a little signal of, oh, your answer is wrong. You better go back up and choose another equation, right? Right. Okay. I'm going to skip number 9 right now. The next problems all deal with inequalities, and we're going to talk about inequalities tomorrow. So I want you to work on these problems after we work on our test a little bit. Now, remember, if it's an open circle, it's going to be greater than or less than. If it's a closed circle, which there is a closed circle down here at this one, it's going to either be this or this. So do you know when to use an open circle and when to use a closed circle?
Yes.
All right. And when the variable has the little point, it goes left. When the variable has the big end, it goes right. I think all of your variables are on the left side here. I'll have to double check on your test if all your variables are on the left side. Any questions about the things we just did? Okay.